righty, we're live. We're live. Good afternoon, good people. I told you guys we have a special guest. We have two special guests. This is the part two to the installment of 18 Holes of Wisdom. Today we have the CEO of 18 Holes of Wisdom, Mr. Well, Chief. He likes to be called Chief. And we have Mr. Napoleon Crowell, and we have Josiah Crowell. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Of course.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, th- Crowell, go ahead, Napoleon. Tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are as well. We're on we're on your Facebook Live. So a lot of people know who you are, but I know some people are going to tap in that do not know who you are. And then Josiah, you can introduce yourself as well.
All right.
All right. Well, my name's Napoleon Crowell. I'm the executive coach for Restorative Enterprises. One of our restorative enterprises was birthed out of my book, which is called Good is the Enemy of Grateful Fathers. And so we launched Restorative Enterprises because restorative is just what it is restoring things back to the way they are supposed to be. And so with that, one of the first things that is a passion of mine is youth. How do we put something in place where youth can plant their feet, find some solid ground, and move forward in something that may be new? And so with that, we launched Restorative Enterprises, where we are engaging lives for growth. And our first effort here is 18 Holes of Wisdom. 18 Holes of Wisdom is an alternating stroke play tournament where an adult and a junior golfer compete against another team of an adult and junior golfer in 18 holes while teaching them the 18 holes of wisdom. And so, yeah, that's where we are.
My name is Josiah Crowell, son of Napoleon. A little bit about me is 16 years old, born and raised in North Carolina. I currently go to Mallard Creek High School, a rising junior. Playing golf for 5 years, and tournament-wise, I'm playing for 3. And now I am currently on the school golf team. Played my freshman year. Didn't get to play my sophomore year because of the training that was occurring during that. So it didn't allow me to be the best I can be. And I want to be a sports broadcaster as a side job or something to help me get on my feet before I go to the PGA Tour. This summer, I plan on going to a sports broadcasting camp in Atlanta. I'm a well-rounded student athlete. That's it. I mean, just a fun guy to hang around, chill.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for both of the intros, guys. I appreciate that. That's amazing. Josiah, well, first of all, let me ask this question, Napoleon. How, for the people that don't understand, like God put this vision in your heart, what made you want to start 18 Holes of Wisdom?
Very good question. Well, my son was a football player, quite like I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I always exposed him and all my other kids to golf because I want to golf and other things because I wanted them to have options. And so he was in first tee growing up, and was doing really well at it. But he also was a football player, quarterback, linebacker, and so by the time he got to the 7th grade, he came to me one night, and what'd you say, Josiah?
I said, after football practice, I said, Dad, I don't really want to play football no more, and I just want to play golf. Dad said, I mean, the work ain't going to be easy. It's going to be the same amount of work you put in for football, just a different sport.
And so he, that's what he said he wanted to do. So being a responsible dad, I said, well, let me figure out how I can help my son have an opportunity to play a sport and master that sport so that sport can take him to college. And so I went to his middle school, J.M. Alexander, in Charlotte, North Carolina, And I went to the AD and I said, hey, just coming to find out about your golf team. And he said to me, he said, well, we don't have a golf team. And I said, oh, really? I said, well, there are other schools that do have a golf team. He said, well, we don't have anybody that plays golf. So that's why we don't have a golf team. I said, well, my son plays golf. He said, well, we need 4 people to have a team of golf. And I said, okay, well, I said, so if I find you 3 other people who can play, we'll have a team. He said, yep. He said, well, we also going to need a coach. I said, well, I'll coach the team. And so the journey began. I found 3 other guys that played golf, and we had a team. And I was the coach. And as we began to play, the guys were enjoying it. And I realized that their fundamentals for the game just was not where it needed to be. So I started working with them as well as my son. Started working with them more on the weekends. Started working more with them in practice, 2-3 hours, 3-4 times a week. I was working with them with golf. And so the team, as we moved forward that year, we got better and better and better. And so after the season was over, Josiah had been playing in competition golf. None of the other kids on the team were playing competition golf. So on the weekends when Josiah was playing competition golf, the rest of the kids on the team, they was just doing what normal middle school kids do. But they were not playing competition golf. So obviously they weren't playing on the weekends in competition golf. They were not getting any better. And so what I found was that as I began to talk to the parents didn't know. So I began to do my research. And as I began to do my research about how do I help these kids get better while helping my son move forward. And so I started working with the kids, found out that they were starting to improve, started doing my research about how does a kid get from middle school golf to high school golf. And I started finding out about all these different organizations, AJGA, HJGT, which is Hurricane Junior Golf, TIGA, which is Tar Heel Youth Golf Association, Tar Heel Junior Golf Association. And I'm like, so what's the difference between all of them? Well, in order for colleges to really start looking at you, and you got to be playing competitive golf. Well, middle school golf was only 9 holes.
Wow.
Competitive golf is 18 holes playing using USGA rules. And most of the kids didn't know the rules. And most of the kids that we were playing with on the weekends, they had been doing this since they was 5-6 years old.
Wow.
And I began to notice that when Josiah and I was out there playing on the weekend, I would look around, it'd be 115 kids in the field. But we were the only ones that looked like us.
That's key. That's a peculiar situation to be in because like you're kind of like a lone wolf.
Yeah, we were the only ones out there, and so as Josiah began to progress and do even better, in fact, the first year, his 7th grade year,
yeah,
this young man was playing down in the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour down in Florida. And he was playing against kids that go to IMG Academy, Combine Academy. And these are schools for elite golfers where all they do is go to school and play golf. And so Josiah was playing against these kids. He wasn't playing great. I mean, these guys were 1, 2, 3, 4 over at 14 and 15 years old. Josiah was 13.
Wow.
And Josiah, I challenged him on one hole. He was having a tough day. And so I challenged him. I said, son, I tell you what, every hole that you get a par on, daddy will give you $20.
And then my mom jumped in. They said, if you make a birdie, we'll give you 40.
Hey.
And this kid, not only did he make a birdie, he had his first hole in one.
Oh, wow. And this
on
is
the very next
Florida?
hole in Florida.
Okay.
On that very shot, he had a hole in one. And
Wow.
at 13 years old, he had his first hole in one. That is a pinnacle in golf because
Yeah.
most people want to get a hole in one. Some golfers never get a hole in one, but he got a hole in one.
Some PGA pros don't even got hole in ones.
Oh, trust me. If people don't realize how hard that is to do, I remember being a kid, and I remember getting a hole in one at the putt putt, and I was ecstatic. So I could just imagine you being on a course and getting a hole in one on an actual course.
What was the
That
distance, son?
It was 172 yards.
172 yards across water. He got a hole in one. And if nothing else, if he didn't do nothing else that whole weekend, he got a hole in one. And
yeah.
from that moment on, I said, we got something.
So this question is for Josiah too, and I'm glad we got both you guys on here. So Josiah, like the part where you decided, because that's a tough decision to make as a young man, that apparently your pedigree and your family comes from football, but your
Yeah.
dad exposed you to golf. So what made you decide on your own, without like anybody influencing you, that you wanted to leave football to try out golf?
That's a good question. But what made me decide golf over football is because the passion I had for football, it wasn't the same.
Okay.
Because after COVID, I was off. Before COVID, I was all football. But after COVID, I hit that first football team. I didn't really, I didn't really play my heart out the most I could, like I am for golf now. So I guess that passion wasn't there at the time that I have now.
Okay. Sorry, something went wrong. Can y'all see me?
No, we
No, it's
can't.
a black screen.
Okay, hold on. Let's try this. I don't know what just happened, but I hate that it went black screen on me. Of course, thanks a lot. Okay, perfect.
Got you now.
So I caught all the way up to the part when you said that COVID, kind of like, COVID was going on, and you had lost, you had lost a little bit of a hunger for football. So
Right.
continue after that. I'm sorry.
Since I lost that passion, that hunger for football, it drove me away from football to where I didn't really feel like I should play it because if I'm not gonna put my heart into that sport, there's no point in me playing it. So I said, Dad, I think I'll play golf because I was exposed to it. Now I enjoyed being out there on the course chipping and putting. And now my chipping and putting game is really, really, really good. So like I thank my dad for exposing me to that sport. So I have something to go back on that I'm really good at.
So Josiah, when was that breakthrough moment for you that you realized you were good? Because your dad said something that was kind of profound. Like sometimes, I mean, this is me talking personally. When I was in the seventh grade, I would get like third and fourth, right, in track and field. And my coach, I was frustrated with that, right. And my coach told me, he gave me the best advice. He said the best train when everybody else is not training. So the fact that you were doing competitive golf on the weekends, it made you a lot better, right?
Right.
So, but when did you realize prior to competitive golf, or even during the competitive golf process on the weekends, or working with your dad, when do you realize that you were actually good at this? Like you can really do this.
I I wow. Um
I think it was when you won your first when you came in when you placed third out of about 12 people at Salem Glen when
Okay.
you got your first medal.
I realized I was good. I don't know. I never really thought about it like that. I would just play golf and see me progress over time. I couldn't really put a moment on when I actually thought I was getting like I was good, but I guess it was progressively getting better. That's all. That's how I can answer it.
You know, that's a great answer, and I'm gonna tell you why. That lets me know that your best is still yet to come.
Right.
So that is a very good answer. Um, Now as far as this is a tough question. This is honest. This is an honest question right here. Do you feel like you are better at your dad in certain aspects of your game right now?
Oh,
Tell the truth, Josiah. Tell the truth.
I am. I am better than my dad in about 90% of my game. The 10% he got me on is probably chipping right now,
Okay.
but everything else I'm pretty much the best in.
Good. That's exactly what I want.
And you know the good thing. Well, I would say this, Josiah. You had a head start too, so Crowell. When did you first start playing compared to when did Josiah start playing?
So that's a good question. So my brother Jermaine is the one who really introduced
Okay.
the family to golf because we were a team of we were a house of football and basketball players, which is really kind of where this came from. Um, he brought when I remember when he came home and he said, "Bruh, we got to go play some golf." I said, "Golf," and I remember golf when I was playing high school football, and I used to look at the guys that play golf, and I was like, "Man, look at them wusses. What about? I mean, come play a real sport. Come play
Yeah.
a real man sport." And that was my view of it. So when he told me when he went to the league, he told, "Bro, we're gonna go play some golf." I was like, "Golf? Why are we playing golf?" And that was back in 1998, 1999 when he introduced us to golf. And as I began to play, golf started having an effect on me in a good way. And that's really a good segue into why I do golf now, why I love golf now, was because like I said, we were a family of football players and basketball players, and obviously with those sports, those are contact sports.
Yes. Yes.
And I was a pretty aggressive guy. I mean, I had this controlled aggression or anger that I released on the football field, that I released in practice, and I kind of prided myself in having those channeled emotional bursts.
Okay.
And so golf made me learn how to have anger management, how to have self-control, how to have patience. Because in order to get better and stay in it and compete with us, all my brothers, and you couldn't be angry. You can't play the game and be angry. You can't play the game and not have patience. You can't play the game and not have self-control. And so when I started playing golf, in order for me to move to the next level of progressively getting better, I had to take on those values. And so I started playing the game back in 1998, 1999.
Wow.
And after that, I introduced all of my children to the game of golf because for me, I tell people it taught me anger management. It taught me self-control. It taught me patience, all of which I didn't have when I played football.
And well, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I saw you a long time ago. Yeah, I probably didn't tell you this. I think I saw you coaching linebackers. What position did you play when you played football?
Linebacker.
I figured because you're built like a linebacker. So
Yeah.
the fact that you said that had me thinking about, like you said, you honestly remind me of what's my man that played for Baylor, and he was the head coach for the Bears, and he won a championship with the '86 Bears. Mike Singletary. Not me. I think Mike Singletary.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Mike Singletary was one of the guys I looked up to in the league because he
I'm
was
telling
short.
you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let me cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying because he was short but he could hit. You know, he
Yes,
used to clean that paint.
that's what you remind me of because I look at a lot of people don't realize Ray Lewis is not that tall. He's
Right.
considered small for a linebacker. And I mean, he's arguably one of the greatest of all time. Mike Singletary, same thing, short greatest of all time. Now I'm going to switch gears because you had me thinking about it. Because I'm just getting into the game a little bit myself. You're exposing me to it. I've always been infatuated by it because I seen growing up. I grew up in East Winston, and I remember like working out at Kennedy Middle School, and there would be guys out there practicing their swings, right,
Hmm.
just for golf, you know. And I remember asking the guy one time. That was my first time asking about golf, about the sport, but I wasn't really exposed to it like how you are, right? Like, so people don't understand how much of a mental game golf is. It's more mental, but football is mental too now because you got to be able to read and react, and things of that nature. But how much of a mental game is golf different from football? Is it a lot different? Is it a drastic difference, or is it about the same?
Oh no,
Oh Jesus.
it's extremely different.
Okay.
I'm gonna start first, and then I'm gonna let my son pick up.
Yes. Okay.
One of the things that I love about golf is that it's between you, that little ball, and the course. So mental well-being and mental health is best achieved when you're learning it and having to apply it at the same time. And that's what golf does. Golf teaches you about self-control. It teaches you about patience. It teaches you how to think through everything that, like when I think about the 18 holes of wisdom in each virtue, the attitude of a lion, right? That's mindset. When you're playing golf, you got to have a mindset like every shot that you approach, like I'm the king, I'm in control. Like it's between me and this ball.
Mm.
Practicing hard, the second virtue. Like, what do you do before you get to the course? What do you do before as you approach your day? What do you do before your day begins? Patience. You heard me talk a lot about patience.
Yes.
Um, Learning how to be patient with yourself, to not expect to go from a 100 golfer to a scratch golfer. That ain't gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. So you got to learn patience. You eat an elephant one bite at a time, and that's what golf teaches you. So you don't seem like you don't act. You're not in a hurry to make things happen. You're patient with yourself. You're patient with where you are. You don't worry about where everybody else is. You're just patient with yourself. Knowing the rules of the game. Like most people, whenever you approach any situation, you got to know the rules. Like I got to educate myself on what can I do, what can I not do, and it's all on me to know what are the rules of this game. And golf teaches you that. What tools are on my bag? Like when you're in the golf, you have 13 clubs in a bag. Each one of those clubs go a certain distance.
Mm.
So you got to be familiar with each one of them. You got to spend time with each one of them. So just like golf and tools in your bag, you got to know your own tools. You got to know what is it that I do well. I can do this right here well. This club can do that. I know I can do this. So you begin to work hard on what you can do. Studying the course. When you talk about studying the course, like every course is different. Every course is different. You can go out on one course and you can shoot lights out golf. You can shoot even par. Then the next day you go out there and guess what? You'll shoot 25 over par on the same course. So you got to study that course because every day, you know what, is a fresh mercy. Every day you start over. Don't matter what you did yesterday. Don't matter what the person next to you did. What are you going to do today? Envision your start. So you're talking about vision.
Mm.
You're talking about vision. So every shot, every day, you gotta have a vision for where I am in this moment on this day. You got to have that. The next one, playing from the fairway. Now, the fairway in golf is where everybody want to be, right? Easy street, right where you're supposed to be. It's not as hard. Everything is like it's supposed to be. What do I do when I'm playing from the fairway? I'm in the best position when I'm playing in the fairway. Avoiding hazards. When you're talking about life, there are a lot of different hazards out here.
Indeed.
And it don't take but one wrong move to the right, one wrong move to the left, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, to where you just blew it. Think about the number of times with just one wrong move, one wrong decision, you blew it.
Oh, and you know what? One wrong decision can change the trajectory of your whole life.
That's
And,
right.
and it don't get me thinking about how many times God has covered us and blessed us, and how many landmines we done tippy toe past. Or is it when you do something wrong? Is it bogey? When you bogey something, is that a
Yeah, bogey is one over par.
whatever? And like I said, I'm still learning, y'all. Y'all got to forgive me. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. So I'm still getting to learn the game, right? But thank you so much. So Josiah, that goes to you too. Like, I'm sorry, Carl. You finished with your core
No,
values?
I'll let him go on, and you take the next 9, son.
Yeah.
Avoiding hazard.
Avoiding hazards. Now, depending on where you are in the match, I know for me personally, if the hazard is the safest spot, you can play anywhere from 5 yards left of that hazard to give you the best possibility at that hole that you're going to. But hazards, you don't really want to go into the hazards because it's very dangerous. It can cost you 5 strokes, 2 strokes. It can also help you out in golf if you hit it good enough or get lucky. But hazards is definitely something you want to stay away from. Me personally, I do. Because it's water hazards, tree hazards. There's a lot of hazards in golf that you got to abide by in the rules. So that's my take on hazards.
How do you apply that in life, son?
God will give you signs about different hazards. So, like in school, if you see kids in the bathroom doing something they shouldn't do, if I see a whole bunch of kids in the bathroom, I just walk around and go the other way. Because I said, I don't really need to be in here, because if something were to go down and I'm in the same bathroom, I could get in trouble and I didn't even do nothing. So that's avoiding hazards. Something in golf, like you see a water hazard, you think, oh boy, I don't want to go in there. So don't think about that. Go the other way. You can lay up and go in the hazard, and then get your best club and go chip up and down. So you can lay up to a hazard, but don't really full commit. That's how life is sometimes. You can lay up into something and then do your best shot and go at it.
Touche. And everything you just said, to sum it all up, that's really wisdom right there. I'm serious, because it takes, you have to have, I was like to say this and use it in the proper context. You got to have the right wherewithal to understand that.
Yeah.
To understand the situations, because a lot of kids wouldn't make the right decision. They'll go in there and thinking it's like, oh, okay, ain't nothing can happen to me. And like you said, just happenstance, you're in there and something happens. But you
Right.
saw the hazard, you saw the landmine, and you were able to sidestep it. So
Right.
let's continue with those core values again. We got 9 more, right?
Yep, 9-1. Advancing from the rough. Now the rough is not in the fairway. It's normally it's a little bit more difficult, and so you have to use the right club. You have to make the right adjustment, and that's just like life. You may not be in the perfect spot, but you got to learn, which club do I use? What tool is in my bag that's going to help me best advance forward? So when you're not ideally where you want to be, how you move forward? What is your thought process? What's the right move I got to make? What's the right club I got to use? Because I don't use the same club that I'd be using if I was in a fairway, because I'm in a rough spot. And so that would be one of learning how to score. Now, scoring in golf, like if it's par, and I'm in a bad spot, what club do I use that's going to help me score the best? Do I putt it? Do I chip it? Do I pitch it? I got to know how to score, because just because I can does not mean that I should.
Right.
Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. What's the risk? What's the reward? Which are all things that you got to learn in life. What's the risk about making this move? What's the reward for making this move? Is it the best? Am I using the best tool to advance to the hole?
And to piggyback off of that, something I had to learn while playing golf is if you mess up on one shot, you got to think what is the best possible score you can get to not ruin your whole game. That is something I had to believe in. Because if I, like, say in the past when I wasn't that good as I was now, I will I'll be shooting 3 and I hit out of bounds, hazard. I'll be shooting 3. I get mad and then I end up with a 7. Now, if I hit a bad shot on my second shot, end up on 4, the best possibility, if I get up on the green, I can one putt, say bogey. At worst, I can get double. So you got to limit those possibilities and break it down to get the best score you can get.
That's very smart. That's because you're using mathematical skills, and you're strategic at that point.
Right.
So before we get back into our next value, and this is a 2-part question, one for father, one for son. How do you guys remain poised? Because I think being in golf, playing the game, you got to be poised in certain situations. So how do you, Crowell, Dad, remain poised? And Josiah, how do you remain poised? And then we'll go to the next core value after that.
Remaining poised meaning that you got to stay in the moment.
Okay.
You know that if you allow your emotions to get involved, where you're angry, where you're too hard on yourself, because normally when you get in certain situations, it's always a tendency to either get high or to go too low. And so I got to always remember that it's always a next shot. So if I'm angry, I cannot maintain focus on how, just like what he was saying, like I can't get angry because it went out of bounds. What I got to do is what's the best decision that I can make to still achieve the best score. And so just not allow my emotions to become a part of my action. When I let my emotions become a part of the action, then that's when things get worse. I made a decision that's going to negatively affect me, as opposed to making a decision that put me in the best position for where I was at that time.
How do I stay poised on the golf course? I guess for me personally, I just if I get too worked up about my shot, I just either take a few seconds to mentally focus or lock back in, or I'm gonna walk. I'll talk to myself and tell myself affirmations to believe in what I can do next and what I can do different, instead of staying mad. Because before I'd throw a club, I might throw a golf ball in the water. I'll just get mad. I throw a hissy fit. So and from the results, I couldn't get better because I was stuck in the past, stuck in the last shot. You got to learn how to move on from the next shot to get better, mentally and physically. That's what helps me stay poised.
I like that. Let's continue with the core values, and then we got to bring us home with the event on how it's going to be on June 30th, because I want to get the people out there. But I'm
Okay.
gonna see while y'all talking. Y'all let me know if y'all can see this. Because it's not pulling up. Because I'm on my phone, unfortunately. But can y'all see this picture or no?
Yes, I can.
You can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that was some of the journey. Okay, I just wanted the people to know this is when you were playing football, and then this is you, I believe, caddying, or not caddying. You're playing at some event. I'm sorry. Um, when you were younger.
Who go fake it? That's why I go fake. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I
So,
have that go.
so I just wanted to show the people some of the photos. But we're gonna get back into it. But let's get to the core values, and maybe I can show some more photos. But I think we're gonna have to definitely do a part 3 as well. But that's no here nor there. Continue with our core values.
So playing from behind was the next one. You're not gonna always be ahead, but just like in life, you can't worry about where everyone else is. You got to focus on where you are, because you cannot control what somebody else is doing or not. You can only control where you are, and maximize what is it that I can do best right now. And if I'm behind, I got to make sure that I just lock in and be focused on where I am and not where everybody else is. And that's I think that's crucial to moving forward and getting your best performance that day. Honesty at all costs. Golf is a tough game, and a lot of times because somebody else may have got a better score, or you focus on what somebody else was doing, and you're not focused on yourself. There's a tendency to not be truthful about where you are at that time. And when you're not honest about your score, when you're not honest about a stroke that you had, when you're not honest, you can't really get better,
Mm.
because you're always looking at what somebody else was doing, not what you was doing. So one of the things that helps with honesty is tracking your strokes. How many strokes you had, how many putts you had, and just making sure that your focus is not, because when you're out there competing and worrying about what everybody else is doing, that's when you begin to not be truthful about what you are doing. You got to be truthful about what you are doing, where you are, not where everybody else is, because you don't know what that person is doing to get where they are. You don't know what that person is doing. You don't know the kind of work that they're putting in. You don't know what's happening when they're not there. So you're not putting forth the same effort that they're putting forth, but you want to get the same results that they're getting without the effort. So if you try to get the result without the effort, then it's going to easily show anyway. It's going to begin to show anyway, because you're trying to get something that you didn't earn. So honesty at all costs. Practicing course etiquette. You want to touch that one, son?
Sure. Practicing course etiquette is very important, because if the time comes for you to play in a tournament, etiquette is probably top 5 in any aspect you're doing. Because if you don't show course etiquette, people will take you seriously and won't take you as an opponent who wants to get better. They look at you as a person who doesn't show the game respect and that you don't follow the rules. So like me, I had to learn the course etiquette, because I would do things that a recreational golfer would do and not how a professional would do. Like if you're on a tee box and someone's seeing up, you got to be quiet. That's course etiquette. Some
Okay.
people would yell. Some people would be funny and they act like that's funny, but it's not. On the green, you can't. And somebody's lining up their ball, you cannot walk in their line. That's disrespectful to their line, and especially don't clean it up or say sorry. That's another way of not showing course etiquette. And lastly, I don't like when people do this a lot, is when they don't fix their divots on the green, or when they make a divot in the fairway, they don't sand it to make the course better. So I guess to sum it up, if you show respect to the course will show respect to you. So like you hitting trees, I've done this many times. I hit in the tree kick it back out to the fairway. I just say thank you. I just take it and leave it.
And I like what he just said, because it's like you whatever you sow, you reap. Clean up your own mess. If you mess something up, clean it up. And etiquette is like, if you make a divot on the green, clean your divot up. Don't just leave it there, because if you leave your divot there, guess what? It messes somebody else up. And now somebody got to clean up your mess. That's course etiquette, which is the same thing you apply in life. If you do something wrong, clean it up. If somebody is doing something, respect what they're doing. When it's somebody else's time, let them have their time. Because guess what? Your time is coming. And you want them to give the same courtesy to you that you're giving to them. And all those are, how, whether you're just respecting the game, like what my son said, learning how to respect the game, which are all transferable skills and things that you can transfer into life. There are no gimme putts.
I had to learn that the hard way.
Go ahead, son. You want that?
So, basically a gimme putt is something inside of 3 feet that most likely is 100% a makeable putt.
About a foot inside.
And to some extent, people believe that a 3 feet, 3 to 4 foot inside a cup is a gimme, but it's not, because anybody can miss a putt. Any pro can miss a putt from 3 feet out. It's possible. It's nothing impossible that you can't do on a putting green. Like, somebody can miss a foot away from the hole. So a gimme putt, you cannot do gimme putts in tournaments. They don't give you nothing unless you put it in the hole. So that I learned that the hard way. I think one time in tournament I picked my ball up. They gave me 3 strokes, and that hurt my score bad. And I said, I'm never doing this again. And from there on, I don't really, because I play with my uncles. They say, that's good. But me, to get better, I have to put it through. It's a habit. If you work that habit inside your game, it'll feel like it's nothing, especially in practice. You don't give yourself gimme putts, because it's not going to happen in real life, in a real game. So there's no point in doing that in practice if you're not going to do it in the course.
That makes sense.
It's not how you drive, but it's how you arrive. That's basically whatever tool is in your bag that helps you achieve the goal of par is not the same for every person. One person might use a 3-iron. One person might use a driver. One person might use a 3-wood. It doesn't matter what you use when you start. It's who has the best score at the end. So it don't matter. Nobody asks what tool, which one of your clubs did you use. Nobody asks that. They just want to know who got the lowest score, who got the best
Pretty
score.
much.
So it's not how you tee off or what you tee off with, because my son was telling me the other day, he's like, son, daddy, I topped it. I had a bad drive, but I still made par. Mm-hmm. And there have been times when you have a great drive and you make double or triple bogey. So it doesn't matter how you drive. It's how you arrive. It's the score. It's who got the best score. That's that. So it doesn't matter which one you use. And the last one, not least, is patience. Patience is the greatest virtue. All of this takes time. And all this takes time. And I think that's what happens with all the other sports, is that you don't learn patience. You don't learn patience. And that's what golf teaches you, is patience. Because in order, like you I don't care what skill level you are. I don't care what sport you play. I don't care how great of an athlete you are. Golf treats everybody the same. It treats everybody the same. And you got to be patient with yourself. It's the greatest tool. It's the greatest virtue that you're going to learn from the game of golf, is learning patience.
You guys have enlightened me so much, and like you guys got me excited. So I'm excited about June 30th, but I'm excited about even picking up the game moving forward. I always tell myself I'm gonna do it when I get older, but you guys have definitely encouraged me. I got one more question before we jump into the event because that's what I wanted to bring us home about. I want us to bring us home, explain the event, the tournament on the 30th. But I told this to your uncle, um, Josiah, and I asked your uncle this question, Juwan, and I brought this up to him. I said, big time players make big time plays in big time moments. And I asked him a question. I interviewed him a long time ago. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. And he caught the ball that sent Carver High School to the championship. And I watched that game, and I just watched that ball go in the air. And I'm gonna be honest with you, he came down with that thing, and I just thought it was just like God sent, because we were on the cusp. We were on the we were this close to losing, right? But I
All
thought
right.
that to say that, what is a time and moment in your life where you felt like you made a big time putt or a big time drive, and you executed to the point of perfection, and you were really
Ah,
happy about it?
let me see.
And it's
Um. Ooh. Okay. So this was in Monroe Country Club, and I think I was tied for the lead.
mm,
And before the round, my grandma always made a bet to me. If I can break 80, she'll give me $100. And I was at 80 even so far. I hit I was also tied for first. And this was on Father's Day too. So
mm.
it was on the line. So I hit a perfect drive right down the middle. I had about 250 yards left. This is the last hole too. And I hit my three wood pretty well. I hit it to the right side of the green. I made a chip to about 5 feet, 6 feet. I made a birdie. And I was the last group. And I went up to that scoreboard. I already broke 80, so I already won $100.
Mm.
I went to the scoreboard as the last group. Man, I saw that scoreboard. Somebody shot at 80, 80, 81. And that same hole I got birdie on, he got bogey.
Mm.
And I said, oh my God, I done won my first tournament.
Hey,
And that was probably the clutchest thing I could have won. My dad said in the car to me, if you're not gonna win for me it's Father's Day. I just end up winning. I ended up winning that tournament, and it was just all set up. Won Father's Day, won $100, and won the tournament. The triple threat.
beautiful trifecta. And shout out to grandma. Nothing like a grandma. Always come through in the clutch, right?
All right.
That is an amazing story, man. Thank you for sharing that, because you had a big time. You made big time putts and big time plays. Well, we won't say plays, but big time decisions and big time moments. So I like that. So Crowell, bring us home, man. Let us know about June 30th. How can you register? What is it about? Do we need sponsors? Do we need vendors? Do we need volunteers? What is it about, and why are we doing this on June 30th?
Well, that's a good question. Thank you, Fonz. June the 30th, 18 Holes of Wisdom. This tournament, as everyone knows, is going to benefit four schools in Winston-Salem: Northwest Middle School, Mineral Springs Elementary, Carter G. Woodson, the QEA. Only one of those have a golf program. Three of them, we're going to help them start a golf program. And it's very important for me to make sure that, one, we bring this back home to Winston-Salem, and then two, to help them get started with a golf program. As much as I love my son, it's really not about him. It's really not about me, because he's going to get an opportunity to go to college, play golf. He's going to be on the Why Not Us. He's on the underrated tour with Steph Curry. He'll be playing in that tournament qualifier in August of this year. So he's going to get an opportunity. And not only is he a great student athlete, but he's really good in golf. And so he's going to get an opportunity. And so what I want to see happen is that 18 Holes of Wisdom becomes a national golf fundraiser that supports Title I schools across the country. And the reason that I say that it supports or raises money for Title I schools across the country is because most of these kids in these schools never have another option besides the big three: basketball, football, either soccer or baseball. Now I love those sports, football especially. Football was a game changer in my family. It was a game changer in a lot of families. We had in Winston-Salem alone, there were 9 kids that played Pop Warner football that signed an NFL deal at this year's draft. That's amazing.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing. As you know, my brothers, we had a chance to go on and enjoy some great careers because of sports. None of us were exposed to golf. I want to make sure that more kids in Title I schools have another option besides basketball and football. I love those sports, but those sports teach you aggression. Golf teaches you. Golf goes to the heart of mental well-being, teaching you patience, self-control, how to navigate life. The biggest thing that I've seen in my son is how he's handling situations, not on the football field or not on the golf course, but in his own life. I want to see more kids have those tools. How do you get those tools? Life in action. You get those tools by life in action. If you could play a sport or get exposed to a sport that teaches you all those values that my son just talked about early enough, what if golf was offered in every Title I school in America where it was taught? I'm a PE teacher. I'm a PE teacher at a school called Turning Point Alternative School in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mm.
This is an alternative school. In 4 weeks, I taught those kids the game of golf.
Wow.
These are kids that are in high school at an alternative school that I taught the game of golf. And those kids were like, man, I wish I had known about this sport earlier. And they're asking me now, will I continue to teach them how to play golf? Let me tell you the irony of it all. I was teaching the kids golf, and when the girls started coming out for lunch, and they saw that these kids that go to this alternative school, when they saw that the girls saw that they had golf clubs in their hands, the kids dropped the golf clubs and said, "Give me a basketball."
What?
Let me say that again. When the kids that I was teaching golf to
Okay.
saw that the girls was looking at them strangely because they were playing golf, they dropped the golf clubs and said, "Give me a basketball." I was
Wow.
blown away, Franz, when I saw that, because what I understood was that the kid was saying, "This ain't for us. This is the only thing for us is basketball or football." What if these kids had been exposed in elementary? What if they had been exposed in middle school properly? They would have had the option. When I went to my son's middle school, which is a Title I school, they had not had a golf team in 5 years.
Wow.
When I think about these Title I schools, they don't have golf teams. They got a football team. They got a basketball team. These are sports that teach you aggression. They teach you anger. They don't teach you how to control your anger. Golf teaches you that. And I want to make sure that 18 Holes of Wisdom provides resources so that these schools have access to golf, have access to it early enough so that they too can now learn how to play the game. 18 Holes of Wisdom is an alternating stroke play tournament with an adult and a junior. What we need are junior golfers.
Okay.
And when I say junior golfers, I'm talking about competitive junior golfers, because there's a difference. And the reason that, like in high school golf, that's played in high school, they only play 9 holes. 18 holes is considered competitive golf. And so if you haven't played competitive golf, then just going out and to Top Golf, that's not competitive golf. It's exposure to golf, but it's not competitive, because you're not learning how to score. You're not learning how you're not having to navigate all the challenges that I was just talking about. So that's why we want to do competitive golf. And so we're looking for adult golfers. Anybody who plays the game, and you have a junior that's 9 and up, that plays, that knows how to tee it off, that knows how to navigate them way around the course. Those are the ones that we need to go and register. Okay, so I need adult golfers, I need junior golfers. Now we also need sponsors. We need people who say, you know what, there are a lot of people who say, well, you know what, I don't play golf, I don't know about golf. That's okay, but what I do know is that you know a kid that goes to a Title I school. Most of us that are out here went to a Title I school. You went to a charter school. They may or may not have golf at their school. You might be in Texas. You might be in Alabama. You might be in Georgia. You might be in Ohio. You might be in New York. You know somebody at a high school that you went to, or a middle school that you went to, or an elementary that you went to, that does not have golf. I want to make sure that golf gets to their school. So I have a curriculum that, as a PE teacher, I use and taught high schoolers. I teach golf at Urban Promise in Charlotte.
Okay.
I want to come and teach Never Limit an Athlete's Mind in your school. Teach your PE teachers how to teach elementary kids, middle school kids. I want to teach them golf. So we need players, we need adults, we need sponsors. So we need people who say, you know what, I want to help that school get a golf program. Whether it's in your city, whether it's in Winston-Salem, support a school. Find a school that you can help them get a golf program. We need volunteers. People who say, you know what, I don't play golf, I don't know much about golf, but I like to help out. We need vendors. People who, you have a vending business. You could be a sponsor at our event. You could be a sponsor at our event. You could promote you might have a salon, you might have a dentist, you might be a doctor, you might be a lawyer. You could be a whole sponsor. You can sponsor breakfast. You can sponsor lunch at 18 Holes of Wisdom.
Man, you know what? This lets me know, and I want the viewers know this is a man talking about something that's bigger than himself, and I think that's very admirable, because like we talked about this in the last interview, like the dash. What defines you is that dash, and you're working on that dash, and this is amazing, y'all. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. We're promoting it. We're gonna continue to promote it. We're working on a couple things behind the scenes. June 30th. How do we register? I'm gonna put the link in this actual bio, but how do we register for the actual event if we want to be a mentee, adult, or a sponsor or a volunteer? How do we actually do that?
Okay, well, you can go to my website. Website is restorativeenterprises.org. So you go to restorativeenterprises.org, go to registrations, and then when you go to registrations, you can see 18 Holes of Wisdom, and click on 18 Holes of Wisdom, and then in the drop down, it'll choose whether you want to be a player, whether you want to be a sponsor, and it talks about the different sponsorship levels. The lowest sponsorship level is $100, where you can sponsor 2 golfers. You'll get our signature shirt that has our shirt logo on it, and has the 18 Holes of Wisdom on the back. You can see the 18 Holes of Wisdom virtue on the back. We have them in different colors. So we have them in purple, we have them in black, we have them in blue, and we have them in white. And we also have our signature color, which is burgundy, and we have it in pink, and we have it in blue. So you could choose And you get that as a sponsor, and there's some other things that you get, just depending on the different sponsorship levels that you choose.
And honestly, I
And
mean,
like I said, 50% of those proceeds are going to go to these 4 schools. They're going to go to these 4 schools golf program, so that these kids moving into the spring or the fall will be able to start a golf program in these schools.
and that's big time, man. That's big time. Because I think these kids, you just talked about the last interview, it's all about exposure. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited, you guys. I hope you guys are excited too. I hope we get as much as we can out of this. And speaking of golf, I'm about to go golf right now.
All right, man. Well, I would say keep it in the fairway, but hit it in the hole.
Touche, touche. And Josiah, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I haven't met you. I can't wait to meet you in person. But based off this comment, I'm so proud of you, man. So young
Thank you.
brother, young king, keep winning, man. Keep on striving for excellence and putting your best foot forward. I'm so proud of you, man. So I can't wait to meet
Yeah,
you on June the
I'm really
30th.
proud of too. He made Daddy real happy this quarter. He turned in 4 A's and a B.
Good God. So academically and sports wise, you're a monster, man. I like to hear that, man. That's amazing. So you gentlemen have a good day, man. And we'll be in touch, Crow. And I can't
All
wait
right,
to upload this. We'll be in touch.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good one.
Yeah, take care. All right.